Now, you mentioned something else here, spraying. Obviously, being a certified organic farm, you can't just spray anything on your trees. How do you guys control your pests? Do you have any pests? Are they biologically controlled? How do you do it?
Yes, and diseases in the orchards, but for every pest and disease there is a solution, a natural solution for it. So for us, we need to create the climate or the environment where the good guys outnumber the bad guys. So sometimes we would actually import and make and have a lab. There's an insectarium up north that makes good guys for us, and we'd release the good guys, and then they would obviously subdue the bad guys, but on a predation basis. We also release moths, sterile moths released to suppress moth population. But more importantly, what happens is if we get this soil very healthy, then the tree gets very healthy. And if the tree gets healthy, it's like a healthy person. You don't get sick. Yes. So the tree has got its own system in it, its immunity system, to ward off the pests and diseases. And all what we need to do is we need to come and top up. If we do top up, we use any natural products according to the regulations. We would, for example, use natural neem oils to help us suppress a pest like thrips. But in essence, it starts with getting that tree incredibly healthy so that the tree doesn't need to see a doctor, doesn't need any antibiotics, doesn't need anything else. And that's the start of it.
Absolutely fascinating. And I, once again, just want to mention that I absolutely love the concept. I just wish that we can get more people to actually do this, which is going to be my next question. Have you had a lot of pushback from other farmers that don't follow this type of from conventional farmers that don't subscribe to the organic thing?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, but if you go and look at conventional farming, it starts out in school, and where farmers went and studied all those curriculums are supported and written by the petrochemical industries. So obviously they talk about they consider the ground just a medium to hold the tree up, and they want to feed the tree everything. So they go for yields, they go for perfect fruit. And if there's one thing I would like to is the consumer. If the consumer can start changing their buying habits, that the apple or the pear or the orange doesn't have to be perfect to buy it. In fact, if there's a little mark on it from an insect or a bug, that's okay. And but yeah, the conventional farmers, there has been a bit of a pushback. I think it's because they're a bit reluctant to embrace this. My biggest advantage is that I knew nothing about farming, so I had no paradigms of how to do this, and just knew that we need to actually go and try and mimic nature. But yes, there has been some interest lately from conventional farmers because, as you know, I think consumers are becoming more aware of what they're eating and what's on their food and what's on the label. So more and more people are starting to question, well, what are you spraying on your trees? Those organophosphates that you're spraying to kill the pest and disease, how much of that is left on the orange when I actually eat it, or how much gets in the juice? And that consumer pressure is starting to drive and change the industry so that they actually start, wake up and say, hold on a minute, but maybe the consumer will determine how we farm in the future. And I think that's what consumers need to do.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And, it is going to be a huge education process. So, Paul, we know that, especially in today's day and age, people look for perfect things. But food in nature is not perfect, and your food is not supposed to be perfect, and it's not supposed to last forever, right? Can you just give us your opinion on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from a consumer point of view, one has to decide. So, do I buy a perfectly looking orange or perfectly looking apple or perfectly looking carrot, but it's I nearly said laced with pesticides and things on it? Or do I go and I pick that orange or that apple or that carrot that's not perfect in terms, it has a few blemishes on, but there's no pesticides or any harmful residues on that? And that's a consumer education process that must happen. If we can get the consumer to say, let me rather pick the healthy food, the healthy fruit, the healthy product versus the good-looking one. That's what we need to do. I think we will start changing the way agriculture, happens in the country, and it's all pushed. At the end of the day, the consumer is the buyer, the guy with the money in the pocket, and as long as they want a perfect apple or they want a perfect orange, conventional farming will be there. And we need to start educating the consumer, saying, rather give me a healthy thing. Give me a thing free of pesticides, free of any bad stuff on it, any residue levels. And I'd rather have that, although it's not so perfect.
Absolutely. And I think the same goes for genetically modified foodstuffs. Yeah. For me, I'd rather have something healthy.
Absolutely. Incidentally, the manure that we get from our cattle, in terms of our EU regulations, we can't use the manure that comes from a cow that's eaten maize or genetically modified mealies. We actually have to only source the manure from an animal that's been fed organic grasses. That's lived like an animal, is eating grass and not eating a bunch of stuff that is being fed. And so that makes the chain completely. We have no GMOs, no genetically modified feedstuffs. There's nothing bad in the way we're farming, and it works.
Absolutely. Now, I know for a fact that the SOGA juices and the SOGA rockets are available right here in the Eastern Cape in South Africa. Yeah. Can you just tell us more or less where we can find those juices and those rockets?
Yeah, we have we're in about 260 stores right now in Gauteng, just recently in KZN, and of course Western Cape, and of course our hometown Eastern Cape. So on our website we've got a store locator, and on there you can go and check the store closest to you. But we're in 260 odd stores. We'd like to be in another 200 stores, but it's a small company. We're growing the footprint slowly but surely, but the response has been amazing. We have 4 products out there now, and the one is the orange juice, the rockets, the lemons in sachets, and then of course one we launched 4 days ago, the Star Ruby grapefruit. And we're hoping it's going to be a hit, and it's hell of a good for you in terms of health. And those of them guys wanting to cut down a little bit of a diet, for the summer, well, grapefruit juice very good from a diet point of view as well. So go get a bottle of grapefruit juice, and it's pesticide free.
Fantastic. Well, Paul, thank you so much for chatting to us. I know we'll be back in the future to chat some more, but thank you so much for having us on your beautiful farm and for talking to us.
It's been my pleasure. You're welcome back.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. Go and get your SOGA juice. Make sure it's SOGA and not a knockoff, because remember, health is wealth.